The correspondent of Channels Television on homegrown solution. We have developed a strategic plan for a homegrown solution. And when we first came into the ministry, is for us to have a stakeholders engagement so that we can develop our own strategy. And it's based on the premises that time is gone when we should be given fish, but we should learn to go on our own and fish. And that also tallies with the United Nations focus globally, that countries are now supported to develop the resiliency skills to get it themselves, rather than being fed with what is coming. And it's in that direction that we have developed our local strategy, one based on transparency and accountability. Because whatever we are going to have in the ministry, provided it's not transparent and it's not accountable, the impact is unlikely to be felt. So, and that is also give us a leeway in trying to address our status that we made the country when the ministry is considered as a cash and carry and business as usual enterprises. So Mr. President is focusing on the fact that we must redeem the image of the ministry and institute principle of accountability and transparency. And then we also believe that when we came in, things are not really, humanitarian and poverty responses are not in any way being coordinated. While the ministry is there, saddled with responsibility of developing policy, oversight, quality assurance, and many others, and mitigating the impact of crisis, disasters, it becomes very difficult because there is no coordination at level of ministry with state and local government level. And therefore, we have to develop a memo to the Federal Executive Council, which has got the approval of the council, to have National Council on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. This will give us a way to develop a program that is not a federal program, but a national program in its right from inception, implementations, and oversight, so that we can have a document that will give us on our own. We also, some of the local this is to see how we to increase budgetary allocation to the ministry, and which, if you compare the 2024 budget and 2025 budget, we must thank the President, the value as this. And also, to make sure that part of it is to improve on our rapid response program in terms of National Social Register. Our already over 5 million families, which represent almost 75 million households, has been reached through the rapid response register, and over 493 billion has been disbursed. And one thing that is locally in our own national, social register, if you look at the data, it reflects the report of multidimensional poverty index in Nigeria. The report says that 65% of vulnerable populace or poor people are in the northern part of the country, while 35% are in the southern part of the country. And then if you look at the urban rural ratio, it also goes 70-30%. 70 are in the rural areas, while 30 are in the distant. And if you look at the total amount, the North, which has the highest in all the national poverty index, Northwest has the highest value, or almost getting to 64%, which is above even the national average of 63%. So the beneficiaries in the northern part of the country are almost 71%, whereas in the southern part is 29%. This is just reflecting the data that we are working with. So it means that the prioritization and paying more attention to where the burden is also one of our homegrown solution, and also to make it more effective. And then we also look at the sustainability plan. We all believe that rapid response transfer, cash transfer, should not be a permanent destination. So also stay in National Social Register should be a temporary. There must be an entry point. You may be a rich man today, but for, certain circumstances may lead one to move into National Social Register. One may be in the National Social Register, another favorable circumstances may upgrade him to go out of National Register. So we are trying, part of our local solution is to make it a temporary destination. And as such, we also follow it up with durable solution. And those durable solutions, we have already put them into practice. I can remember some of your correspondents, I think I made a correspondent of channels when I went to Plateau State to flag off the harvesting season that we have had when we had an agricultural MOU cultivation plan between Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, our MDA, the National Commission for Refugee, and also the NALDA and Federal Ministry of Agriculture, where we provide them with all necessary instruments, and we serve as an interface to promote local reconciliation between host community and internally displaced person, and internally displaced local host community donated a farm which was cultivated by the internally displaced person, and that we had a ratio of sharing the harvest, which is 30 to 70. The 30% of what was cultivated will be retained by the internally displaced person, while the 70% will be uptaken by government, and government will also use it to feed the other IDPs. And that 70% represent the cash component, because if you leave them without cash component, you are still not making much impact. And then I also mentioned that as part of durable solution, we are looking to smallholder farmers that I've mentioned earlier, that we are going to start our government enterprises and empowerment program, that we are going to disburse to 21,000 farmers, and each will receive at least nothing less than 300,000 to support. And it's a soft loan that is non-collateral and interest-free, to targeting the dry season farming to complement a lot of losses that may be encountered as a result of flooding and many other issues. So we have a lot of naturally, locally developed districts, but most importantly is also to see how much we can call on the national, to call on the public to support the effort of security agencies. Because whatever we are going to do, provided that we have not curtailed the drivers of poverty and humanitarian crisis in Nigeria, such as the conflict that is ongoing, we all believe that. Everybody know, before now, journey from Abuja to Kaduna by road, a lot of us will not venture into it. But I want to say that that has been free, and the famous cattle market in Kaduna State, the Biningwari market, has been open. And a lot of people now follow from taking that to Kaduna via Biningwari. And many other parts of Nigeria that were initially not accessible. Now you can access it, and a lot of areas that before you cannot go to farm, farmers are going to farm. But we are not saying that all is this. We still have challenges, and the security agencies are doing their best to ensure that security situation is restored to normal. So, well, the IDP and their total, definitely we know that the figure of IDP in Nigeria is quite alarming. And I mentioned earlier the drivers. Today in record we have over 3 million Nigerians that are internally displaced all over. And that is just not a figure, you understand? We are talking of not just a number. We are talking of human beings. And that's why the government is doing all its effort to make sure that they are resettled. And part of the effort of Mr. President is, I think a lot of you are with us when Her Excellency, the First Lady, went to Nasarawa State to commission the New Hope internally displaced person, internally displaced person resettlement city. And that is essentially, if you go there, you see it's a very decent accommodation that has all it takes to be called a decent accommodation. So this is part of the effort. And also we are collaborating with state government. For instance, under the care of Borno state government, where we have the highest number of IDP in camp, it's on record that the Borno state government currently, even working along with other partners, are handling almost 1,728,000 internally displaced persons. So these are all the efforts that are doing. That's why I said it's a collaborative effort. And to see how we can we can address the issues. Well, the question is also, is there any other, now that the World Food Program is temporarily suspended, but let me make it also clear. I've mentioned that they have activities, 5 activities, the World Food Program. It's not that they are completely leaving the country, but they were forced because of fund crisis to suspend the program, which is a major one, that is the emergency food transfer. But other their program in terms of capacity building and their staff, they are still there and they are still working. And even when we are planning our response to, we have to meet with them to identify the gap. And what is that we need to do, the federal government will have to come in and address. So we have had a lot of meetings with them in the last 72 hours. So the European Union also came to our, in the last 2 weeks, there was a crisis in Benue State, and also there is a crisis in Sokoto where the medicine doctors without borders complain of inability because of the said suspension also of funding to take care of the admitted children with severe acute malnutrition. And as a result of that, there's the official of the ministry and the official of the European Union has visited both Benue and Sokoto State. And a grant of 1.5 million euro was given to cushion the effect of the internally displaced person in Benue, and also to continue with ongoing care of the children admitted for the management of severe acute malnutrition. So we have reached out to many other organizations and we are doing that. But as I said earlier, the government is not going to be dependent. We have to have a security on our own that we can also be able to mobilize resources and do it ourselves. Well, the ministry mismanagement, and that's why I said earlier that yes, actually, when we came here, we were faced with challenge. Challenge in the sense that wherever you go, once they mention that you are from one Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, people will see you as a potential pioneer that is coming. And that is what we want to eradicate, and we have succeeded in eradicating. And we have also succeeded in restoring the confidence of international community about the ministry. Prior to now, European Union hardly come to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs for their activity. But when we told them and we demonstrate peacefully to them that what we are after now is transparency and accountability, and whatever we are going to do must have a digital identity that it can easily be tracked and adjusted. So we got that confidence, and that's why they are adjusted. So whatever we are going to do in the ministry now must be tractable and traceable. And that's why even in our National Social Register, you find that there is a slow in terms of disbursement. So we look at what are the reasons that up till now are this, and directive of the Mr. President was much to do much. So we have to engage. I think just yesterday, Permanent Secretary, we have employed about 53 companies that will help us in validating the NI registration, so that each of those in our national register that doesn't have the account number, NIN and BBN, will quickly get them and this. And the companies have already mobilized site and activities ongoing right now. And that will really fast track reaching out to many numerous vulnerable groups. And also, this will also cushion the effect, because even the IDPs, a lot of IDPs are in the National Social Register. And we have also given directive that those IDPs, especially where the activities, because even the activity of World Food Program, there is also conditional cash transfer. We have also given directive that those in the IDP must also be prioritized so as to cushion the effect of withdrawal. Well, humanitarian food stop. Yes, a lot has been said about that. But suffice to say that since we came into this ministry, what we have made on ground has already been distributed. The permanent secretary was in Kano, and one of the director of humanitarian was in many other states. to distribute what we have. As of today, right now, except the procurement of 2025 has not yet commenced. But what I know that this thing is that we are working to see how we can also promote utilization in terms of our sustainable development is the preparation to commence training using all our training equipment and instruments that we have in our warehouses, and that will also be with some comments. I think you also have to know that NEMA, as of today, is not an agency under the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Yes, it's under the presidency. But you see, if you look at the budget of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, while we are responsible and saddled with responsibility in terms of development policy, in most of the ministry that you go, actions are usually based in the ministry, departmental and agencies. And for us here in the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, if you look at our budget, you find that under the Service-Wide Board, we have a substantial budget under the National and Social Investment Program. And those budgets are the ones that we are going to utilize in running out the National Homegrown School Feeding Program, conditional cash transfer, Empower training, and many other things like the chief have mentioned. Already I've mentioned we are starting with the in Egypt now we are going to look at the farmer money. Previously, trader money and market money has also been done. So if you look at the budget there, I think it's running above 500. Yes, over 500 billion, I think.
For the whole year?
Yes.
How much of that has been done for the half of the year?
Well, you have to understand this. This question is also very vital. When we came, you know that we made everything on suspension. And then the fund of the ministry was then retrieved from account, and it's all almost we know. And the account of the ministry was suspended, of the agency was suspended. But I'm glad to say that Mr. President has directed that that account should be open, and the account has been opened. And even now that we said that we are going to start with government enterprises and empowerment program, is part of that money that is returned to the account of the ministry. And Mr. President has also given go ahead, considering the existence and emergency in the country, that money should quickly be returned to the account of the ENSPA, added to the release that we're expecting to have for the 2025. I think we are good to go. Yes. Well, I addressed assistance to farmers. What I said is that we are going to give soft loan and interest-free. But we are also not ruling out the other program that will soon start as soon as the money return is GPG, Grant for Vulnerable Groups. The vulnerable group will also be assisted, and that one is also a grant rather than a loan. So I want Nigerians to differentiate the two. There is a grant, which is Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program. That one is not a grant, but it's a loan that is interest-free and collateral-free. All you need to be is to make sure that you are a farmer who all list out the criteria you are going to. While in the vulnerable groups, is also going to be, that one is a grant. And then the other one is also your placement in National Social Register. That will also allow you to have rapid response cash transfer that has been directed and approved by the President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of State, sir. I feel your questions were you happen to be the only one who has gotten there. Other people who have questions are following this, please. Okay, so
monetary poverty was what was used. But it was believed that if you use monetary poverty, a lot of people that are poor may not be involved because you are looking at one dimension, money. So that was why the concept of multi-dimensional poverty index now come forward. And in that index, a lot of things are this. There are four focus, I think. There is component of health. It has to do the wealth. There is also a component of education. There is also a component of work and shocks. Works and shock. For instance, now where do you work? and shocks, how many times that your family is being attacked by insurgents, how many of them are displaced as a result of that shock. You understand? That is a shock. Or how many people are displaced as a result of flooding and many other issues. And then the living standard. You understand? So these components are assessed. And then you grade them, and then you now put a ratio of 0 to 1. And currently the index of Nigeria is 0.257, which means that 63 million Nigerians, percent of Nigerians, which translates to 133 million, are in poverty. You understand? So if you look at, since you have mentioned that education is there, security is there, this thing, so everybody will say if there's anything, you have to. And what is there? Because you are expected to go there, one, to provide humanitarian assistance. You understand? It's our responsibility to find for I'm now talking at the going back to the grassroots to provide humanitarian assistance. You also have to, if they're internally displaced person, that's why the commission, refugee is under us. You are expected to get them settled, get them rehabilitated, and then get them reunited to their family. It's also a responsibility of this ministry. If they are refugees, you are also expected to go and according to international convention, if they so volunteer, to bring them back to the country safely and settle them. That's why they are there. Because we are also humanitarian in nature, we also have people who need care. Because they are what, by virtue of their addition, they are people with special needs. And that's why you have the National Commission for people with disability under us. So you see this. Now, if you move further, we have the aged and elderly person who need to be cared for. And they are also vulnerable groups. And they are under our ministry. And that's why the Senior Citizen Center is also under this ministry. Now, because of this activity, everything that happens, people will say we are this. Yes, we agree. And we have to also agree with that because we are at the rallying point. We are also supposed to develop a policy for humanitarian interventions and poverty reduction in the country so that this, not only that, we are also responsible for quality assurance. We are also monitoring and evaluation of it. And then lastly, we have to have a national coordination. And that's why I mentioned that the Federal Executive Council has just approved the Constitution or the formation of a National Council on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. So that whatever we are going to develop is not going to be a ministry affair, but it's a council that we have all adopted and have a single document that we have. So I think through this, I think practically everybody now will know the responsibility for this. Yes, the military will say, yes, we are still with them. We have to also support them. You understand? If they are injured, our ministry will also have to take care of them and see how much we can do to get them reunited into their family and what assistance can be given. And that's why if you go to PAMSEC office or my office now, the number of letters we receive on a daily basis is enormous. Just to say that Nigerians really realize our activities. And we do believe that we will do our own best to ensure that the ministry regain back its glory and continue to impact positively in the field of humanitarian support and poverty reduction activities. Thank you.